Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George, or all George. So today, I want to talk about Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin's next move. A lot of people still guessing where Bitcoin's going to go, up or down. I do have a couple of things to show you about that. Several people are coming out and saying some good things. Also, new hope for Voyager. Voyager Digital. A lot of you guys do unfortunately have crypto and cash stuck on Voyager, and there's a new hope coming. So let's talk about these things. All right, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you tune in every single day, and make sure you check out cryptosrust.com and the brand new Clips channel. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me fix this real quick. Hopefully you guys are doing pretty good today. Pretty good. It's Saturday, kind of gloomy here, but let's get started. As for Bitcoin, we're at 22.2. Unfortunately, we have come down a little bit. Friday market for US, not so hot. Things came back down, right? Bitcoin came back down a little bit, but of course, we are still trending upwards, and many people are trying to guess where things will go. Are we going to retest the bottom, or are we going to continue upwards? Of course, there are many people that are speculating at this point. So let me talk about that in a little bit. I did want to get to this new hope for Voyager because I do think a lot of people do want to hear about this and what's going on. So FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda Research, all belonging to basically Sam Bankman-Fried, is proposing a new way to give clients, depositors, some of their digital assets back early without going through all the bankruptcy hearings and all the creditors, right? All the stuff that's going on with Voyager. The process may take years, right? Years upon years before things are cleared out. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried is like, okay, I have a new proposal for you guys that can give back, or refund some of the crypto and assets back to the users way before all that. Okay, so it's a proposal, not set in stone, but I think this is one that Voyager is going to think very hard on because this is a pretty good one, especially if they care about the users, right? This is a pretty good one, although for the industry, I'm not so sure this is actually that good. But basically, we know that FTX and Voyager has this weird connection where FTX is actually invested in Voyager, but also took out a loan from Voyager, and Voyager also took out a loan from FTX. So it's a weird connection between the two right now, right? But basically, FTX wants to just take over. They want to take over Voyager. So they basically said that if this goes through, all Voyager customers will have to open up a new FTX account, right? Easy. Anyone could do so right now. You open up a new FTX account, and once you do that, in the account, you will get a cash balance, okay, that FTX is basically giving you. It will be some kind of equivalency to what you had before. Does not mean that you're going to be made whole, because they said that basically FTX Alameda will buy all Voyager digital assets, digital loans, with the exception of the Three Arrows Capital, Three Arrows Capital loan, which was $666 million. So with all that said, $666 million will still be a giant hole missing. But whatever's remaining, FTX will basically give that back to the users. So as soon as you open up an FTX account, you're going to see a cash equivalent of that in your account. That is the proposal. Now, what is that cash equivalent? Is that going to be 20%, 30%, 50%? We don't know at this time, right? But to me, that actually sounds pretty good, because this will be whatever users get anyways afterwards, after waiting years upon years. In fact, this may be better because users are getting it even before the creditors, get their portion too, right? So there's that. And basically, FTX wants to take over. They know that Voyager is very, very desperate right now. And here's the kicker too. FTX is going to pay $15 million to acquire all customer information. Okay? So, and intellectual property and trademarks and so forth. And FTX will also write off his $75 million loan against Voyager Digital. So basically, to sum up, FTX is buying Voyager for $15 million. That's what it means. But unfortunately, that means that your customer information, whatever KYC information you gave up to Voyager, FTX will own, regardless if you partake in this new, proposal, right? So that is the latest for Voyager. I said it's a new hope, so it could happen. I think if Steven Ehrlich, the CEO of Voyager Digital, if he really cared about the users and not himself and the creditors and everyone else, if he really wants to give back to the users as quickly as possible and as whole as possible, this is probably the best way to do it. But I did say at the beginning, not good as a whole, obviously, because now you have the bigger players eating up the smaller players, and the bigger players are getting bigger. FTX, not only do they want to buy Voyager, they also want to buy BlockFi. And not only that, they want to buy BitHum, which is one of the largest South Korean exchanges out there. So there is definitely a consolidation. And this guy right here, Sam Bankman-Fried, is trying to do crypto domination at this point, right? So there is that. But as for the users, there may be a way to recover quicker than expected, and maybe even a little more than expected because of this proposal, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know. You're stuck between a rock and hard place, right? So that's the latest. That's the latest for Voyager. Some of you guys may be wondering, what about Celsius? Still not heard of anything. Bankruptcy hearings still ongoing. Haven't heard anything else about that. KuCoin also is answering about FUD because there is some guy, Otero or something, that's spreading a lot of FUD about how KuCoin, the exchange itself, may be involved with Terra and had exposure in Terra, and there may be, some insolvency issues and stuff like that. And KuCoin is trying to be transparent and kind of laying everything out, the conversation they had and all the misconceptions this guy had, right? Basically trying to calm people down, saying, hey, we're doing just fine. We're doing just fine, right? So beware of the FUD, and there are a lot of people spreading FUD, right? But I tend to agree KuCoin has been around for quite some time. They have been hacked before, but they made people whole. But right now, we just don't know, right, whether or not they truly had exposure or they didn't, and if there's anything else going on. So just be careful overall, not just with KuCoin, with any exchange out there, right? Just be careful. Be careful with your own funds. Right now is definitely a time to pick up a hardware wallet, a trust wallet, any mobile wallet, any wallet you control, and start playing around with it and testing it out. Make sure that you know how to transfer your crypto from one exchange to a wallet, right, so that you prepare yourselves for the future. All right. I want to start out with that. What about Bitcoin? Where is it heading to? Well, before that, I did want to show this. Boston Consulting Group is saying crypto will reach 1 billion users in 2030. And I have seen metrics like this before, comparing Bitcoin and crypto to internet users, to mobile users, right? And this is where we are in terms of, if you compared it to the internet of the 90s, the late 90s, that's where Bitcoin is right now on its journey upwards, on its journey forwards, okay? So back then, you had some fantastic companies that are still around. Yahoo, not really. They're barely clinging on, but Amazon, eBay, Expedia, GoDaddy, PayPal, Google, Tencent. These are big boys. Salesforce, Alibaba, Baidu, right? These are the ones that were very early back in the day, and they have become the powerhouses of today, right? This is the same thing with crypto. There's so many that's big already, but they're still so early. And imagine once we go and really expand and move forward in, say, 10 years, 20 years, some of the companies today, or projects today, I should say, will be just like these big tech giants, right, of tomorrow. Bobby, I don't know if you're trolling, man. That's just a ridiculous thing. But I thank you for your super chat. All right, so that's the way, way, way future. But as for near-term future, a lot of traders, speculators are wondering, looking at certain certain moving averages, certain breaks, certain levels that you have to hit or attain, or it may do this and may do that, right? So this is one that I think I concur, and I've said this. So recently we were at 24.2, right? If we could break above that, there's nothing between 24 and 29,000. So I've said that before. We could definitely do that, right? But if we don't, and we get a little bit more weakness and we come back down, we'll probably touch 20K again, right? That wouldn't be out of realm of possibility. Of course, that could happen. In fact, I drew out a trend line, right? So a couple of times we had a recovery, went down to the trend line, recovery here, down to the trend line. If we go back down, where does the trend line go? About 20,000. So that makes sense, right? So that's short term. But again, no one knows. Everyone's just guessing. If this happens, this could happen. If this happens, this could happen, right? But we know long term, Bitcoin is so early. Crypto is still so early. So that's why we want to stay in the game, and we want to continue forward and DCA so we don't miss out. Michael Saylor tweeted this out. Mohammed, who is one of the analysts that goes on CNBC quite a lot. I didn't know he was like a crypto guy. He's asked about crypto quite often now. And to sum up what he said, a lot of people think that crypto winter is now behind us. The damage has been absorbed. There has been a flushing out of the excess, and now we have a better base to go forward. That's true. We now have Three Arrows Capital gone, Celsius gone, Voyager gone, right? BlockFi possibly gone, although they're still doing pretty well right now, and withdrawals are still open. Vault is gone. I mean, there's a lot of excess that did really well back a few years ago, but now, due to the risk, due to the environment, they have been flushed out, right? So the damage has been done. And let's not forget, Elon also sold 75% of Bitcoin. This is all within a matter of months, right? So the flushing out has been done. Now we have better base to go forward, right? We are now moving forward. So can't argue with that. And CZ also went on air and asked about Elon. Like, what do you think about Elon selling his Bitcoin? And CZ, which is considered the richest man in crypto, I believe, he fights back. He's like, so what? So what that Elon sold? So what that Tesla sold, right? Elon and Tesla doesn't hold all the other valuable assets out there, right? Doesn't mean that he's a fortune teller, right? The fundamentals of Bitcoin is stronger than ever, and it will continue to do well in the future with or without Elon and Tesla. Of course, having them on board doesn't hurt, but with them off board, and they're not completely off board, let's just keep that in mind. They sold 75%, so they still have 25% left. But even with or without them, Bitcoin will continue forward. It always does. And as for going forward, some of the great things I've shown you guys before, like addresses with at least one Bitcoin, which is what I advise as a goal. Like if you're in Bitcoin and crypto, one of the goals you should have is to attain at least one Bitcoin, to be a whole coiner, right? In the future, if Bitcoin goes to 1 million each, well, then you're a millionaire just by holding one Bitcoin. Of course, you don't have to buy it all at once. You can DCA along the way, right? But number of one coiners, whole coiners, all-time high, near 900,000 addresses have at least one Bitcoin. Same thing with Ethereum. This is measuring whole coiners for ETH, which is much easier to attain, but it's above 1.5 million addresses. So the number of people that are DCAing, that's buying the dip, right, becoming whole coiners of Bitcoin and Ether, all-time high right now. Part of the fundamentals, the growing fundamentals, right? So there's a lot there. And then, of course, you have other things that measure Bitcoin. Here's MVRZ, which, again, there's all these basically measure. Here's a Mayer's multiple. All these measures, okay? Bitcoin, how oversold it is versus previous cycles. And I've shown you guys this a lot over the last few months, right? Especially the last few weeks. There are many of these models that show that Bitcoin has hit that bottom just like the previous cycles. Of course, we have a different macro environment right now, right? So things may be a little bit different, a little bit off, but right now things are looking good, especially as the fundamentals continue to grow and stay strong. All right, that is pretty much it. The last few things I did see, Sandbox, which is one of the bigger metaverse projects out there, they are moving fully to Polygon. So again, shows you how much is going on Polygon these days. Polygon is absolute beast right now, attracting so many to its layer 2. So that's fantastic for Polygon and Sandbox, because now Sandbox is going to be a lot cheaper and a lot faster. Also, I saw Ripple. I mean, the SEC just will not cave in on this. SEC, again, is trying to deny Ripple evidence that Ethereum is a commodity and not a security, so Ripple can use it as a defense. And the SEC keeps pushing back, keeps denying it, even though courts already said, give them the data. The SEC does not want to do so because they feel like if they do, the case is over. They're done. They'll lose. But again, they're pushing back, saying they don't want to get testimony from the previous director that declared Ethereum a commodity. So again, I don't know. This looks bad for SEC. I think it looks bad. They probably never thought that any project would stand up to them this much or this far into it. As Ripple have said, they spent $100 million defending themselves right now. $100 million. Think about how many projects could actually do that. Very, very little. So I'm not the biggest XRP fan, but I really, truly hope that Ripple wins this case because it will definitely help the entire crypto space so the SEC doesn't just like try to stomp on everyone, right? So there's that. I saw this. Someone mentioned it before, Shiba, for those of you guys that are Shiba fans. They partner up with someone called Third Floor, which is the busiest visualization company working with dozens of Marvel blockbusters. So I guess they're into all the cool visual effects that you see, right? They worked on Infinity Wars, Wonder Woman, Thor, Mad Max, right? So if they could bring some of those graphics into the new metaverse for Sheep, well, that's going to be fantastic. That means it's going to be probably the best looking metaverse game ever. But a little too early to declare that. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. Hey, Noodle says, George, why are you beginning to resemble a person my folks pray to? I don't know. And I don't think that's a bad thing, right? All right. I answered Bobby already about some ridiculous rumor that I'm not going to bring up. Let's see here. What else is there? Chad asks, how can KuCoin give such high APIs on staking? Binance.us is doing it also. A lot of these guys are simply passing on the staking rewards from the network. If you actually staked natively, like Polygon and Avalanche, like these guys, they give out 8, 9, 10%. So that's how these exchanges do it. They basically take your crypto and then they stake it themselves, and they collect like a percentage or a half percentage in between. So that's why there are still staking rewards given, but it's different from lending rewards, right? Like these guys like Voyager and Celsius, they were primarily lending out crypto to earn interest, not the staking portion. Jack asked about what are your thoughts on the future of NFTs? I put 25 NFTs up for sale yesterday, and they all sold within 20 minutes. Well, congratulations. I mean, NFT market still seems relatively healthy despite the big correction that we had. It seems like a lot of NFTs still do well. Some, obviously, the non-popular ones didn't do well, but there are still some that's doing quite well. So I don't know what you sold, but I mean, selling all 20 is pretty darn good. James asked about, is it possible a decent relief rally will increase crypto liquidity for Celsius and Void and improve the odds of receiving our funds back? I mean, it doesn't hurt. Will it help? Yes, but would give you, if you're asking if you're going to be made whole, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. Any way to determine whether assets the alleged Coinbase insiders front ran that weren't declared securities? If so, arguably that could be considered the SEC's mission. They are not securities. Again, Christopher, that's a good idea. I have to look into it because they said 9 out of 20 were securities. That means the remaining are supposedly not securities. But, you got to take that with a grain of salt because Gensler already basically said everything is a security except Bitcoin. So they're not truly properly defining it. So it would be nice if they actually had a list that shows, okay, commodity, security, commodity, security, right? But they don't. They're kind of just like winging it at this point. So I don't know, Christopher, if that really proof that they're not securities, So I don't know. I am excited, Rich, about the I Am George channel. Thanks for your honesty, for your life experience. Yeah, thanks for watching. I do want to bring that up. I do have another vlog channel, I Am George, right? So I posted a video yesterday. A lot of you guys are already subscribed, getting close to 10,000 subscribers. But in this channel, it's more like, my life experiences, my stories, like what I put up here. So if you guys want to hear a little bit more about what's going on in my life and other things that may be talking about, like for example, yesterday, I said money doesn't buy happiness, but these two things do, right? And I'm glad to read the comments that so many people agrees with me, right? There's so many people that said, I remember there's one guy that said, you know what, I upgraded from a 2-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom penthouse, and you're right, it doesn't make me any happier, right? It's 100% true. So if you guys haven't watched that video, make sure you do, and subscribe to the new channel if you're interested in hearing more stuff from me that's not crypto related. Route Protocol, Brian Reeves. Unfortunately, I never heard of Route Protocol. Well, I like HBAR because there's a lot of problems before. They tried to solve a lot of it. It was non-open source. I think it is open source now. They have a console that's making all the decisions. That's still in place. They didn't have smart contracts. So they're getting that ready, right? So they had their issues. And they don't have a lot of DeFi projects. Actually, I don't know if there's any DeFi projects on there. So I don't dislike them. I just think there's better projects. Do you buy more ST ETH or ETH? Why would I buy synthetic ETH? Of course, I would buy ETH, Angela. ST ETH is basically liquid ETH so that you can use it for other things, right? But ST ETH depegged recently. That got a lot of people in trouble. That's what you don't want, right? Synthetic, if anything, is never going to be better than the real thing, right? So yeah, that's a weird question, but of course, ETH all the way. Don't downgrade to cardboard box and you'll be good. That's solid. That's solid advice. Solid advice right now. Um, did I miss anything else? No. Vacation to Hawaii next. Randy, I'd love to go to Hawaii. I don't want to take like a 10-hour flight though. So I don't know. I was actually invited to visit Ferrari's factory in Italy. I'd love to go to Italy too. I have not been to Italy ever in my life, but that's also like a 10-hour flight. So all these 10-hour flights, I don't look forward to. Like 4 hours is like my max. Like I don't want to take a 10-hour flight. Am I a dolphin, shark, or a whale? I don't know. I'm not a whale. Maybe somewhere between a dolphin and a shark. I don't know. Just fly to Italy, fly to Paris, then drive. That's a long way to drive, man, from France to Italy. Honestly, yeah, this whole thing about money doesn't buy happiness, it really doesn't. It's all about life experiences. It's about sharing your experiences with other people that you love. I mean, honestly. Now, there's always people that say, oh, only rich people say that. Only rich people say that. Well, that's because they have that, they're there. They have that perception, right? And they know they came from both. Um, but yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. Obviously, there's people that are in debt, and they'll say if their debt is paid off, they're gonna be happy, right? Obviously, there's that, but in terms of making truly happy, the materialistic things that we all strive for and want, once you attain it, you realize that doesn't really make you happy. You just move on, right? That's the whole point of that video. So, my order did not come through yet. Still waiting. I'm still waiting. I'm a plankton. Yeah, I'll say I'm a plankton. On the grand scheme of things, some of the true whales out there, yeah, I'm a plankton. Um, all right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, a new hope for Voyager, right? A new proposal. I would say there's a pretty good chance this goes through, and it could help the users or depositors in a pretty meaningful way. Although more details needs to come out, but as for FTX trying to just dominate the entire crypto space, not sure if that's actually a fantastic thing. So, kind of have to weigh it. I guess weigh the whole situation. But as for Bitcoin, short term, long term, no one really knows, right? We could definitely fall back down a little bit, but we could definitely continue moving forward, right? We are definitely seeing momentum, that's for sure, slowly coming back. And the fundamentals are still fantastic and growing. That's what I'm focused on. So make sure you guys stay in the game, have patience, and focus on the future. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my future videos. And make sure you check out the I Am George channel and the Clips channel if you want short-term content. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.